Morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. The sun is back out. Life is good. Life is good. Allergies are still kicking me in the you know what, but life is good. You know, it's a beautiful day. We're gonna make it a great day, man. I'm just going to the store to run some pandemic when the prices of things were cheaper. There were so many deals, and that's when the gig economy really exploded even more so because everybody was at home. Well, at least in the DMV area, because I know there were certain states that closed down for like 5 seconds, and we closed down for like 5 years. But really, it was just all of 2020, 2021 that things started. Specifically, the Amazon delivery. Hold on, I need my coffee, man. Necesito mi café. I need my coffee. So, but yeah, man. Either there's 5,000 people living in this house, or somebody's having a party. Yeah, I'm usually not out this early on the Sunday. I try not to get out at all on Sundays, but, you know, I digress. I digress. But yeah, man, this house with the 2 skeletons year round, I always love it. Like, they keep the skeletons in the front of the house, and no matter what, they just, they always dress it up somehow, some way, so I always love it. But, anyways. So, you know, it's just good to be up and out and about. I feel a little bit better today compared to yesterday because, like I said, allergy season. Like when I was out in California, my allergies wasn't acting as bad compared to now. And, and today it's a little bit warmer outside. Yesterday it was much more colder. Today, at least, I think it's just because the sun is out because there was a breeze. There's still a breeze and whatnot. So still feels like it's a fall day, even though it's supposed to be technically spring, but this is why people's allergies act up. This is why people get sick and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's like I remember back during the pandemic, I would have just, instead of what I'm doing now, I would just literally go on DoorDash and get food from Safeway and get food from Food Line and get food from Amazon Fresh and whatnot, and leave a good tip. But nowadays it's like you're gonna pay more of an egregious price for that because like the live I did last night on TikTok, and if you want to follow me on TikTok, go for it. It's hilarious. Anything Goes LLC. But yeah, on TikTok, what was it? I was basically saying how for regular working people, you got to remember that a lot of these things are luxuries. Target is a luxury. Never thought I would say that. That's what people like to call it, Target. I don't know how people be texting on their phone and walking. I don't know how they do that. But anyways, it's like the easiest way to just get robbed. Or get kidnapped or whatever. That dog reminds me of ISIS. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, I remember doing that back then, and I just I enjoyed it so much more. Because I didn't have to leave at the house as much, but but bear in mind that extra money I was spending, I wasn't putting too much wear and tear on my vehicles. I wasn't using that much gas back then. So, in a sense, it kind of evened itself out. And in a sense, I was contributing to the U.S. economy. So it was a beautiful thing. And on multiple levels, on 3 levels, not just 1 level. Well, not just 2 levels, because when you go out, you're spending money because you're putting wear and tear on your vehicle and you're burning gas. So that's spending money. And plus, you're going to whatever store you're going to or location you're going to spend money. So that's the 3 levels that you're spending money. But with ordering off of Grubhub, I'm spending money. Grubhub's getting money, the driver's getting money, and the restaurant's getting money. So, and then plus the state and the county's getting money from the sales taxes. So, if you can't tell, I'm an economic nerd in a sense. I'm not an economist by any means, but I do like the way people like to talk about football is the way I like to talk about money. But anyways, moral of the story is just wanted to be positive this morning, put some positivity in the air because there's always so much negativity out in the world. I think that's one thing, specifically in America, we just thrive off the negativity no matter what. Celebrities, sports, entertainment, we just always seem to thrive, especially the media. We just always seem to thrive off the negative and not embrace the positive. Always, when I'm talking to people, I'm like, I just think it's normal for a lot of people to just embrace the negative and be the Debbie Downer all the time because I say to people a lot of times nowadays, you got anything positive to talk about? There's a guy at my job, I've said that too. It's just like, you got anything positive to talk about? As long as I've known this man, and he's my elder, so I respect him. he's always complaining about something. He's always in a negative mood. Always. And I'm just like, I don't understand. You know, it's like, you're alive. Look, I have my days. I'm not perfect at all. But I just woke up, walked outside, and said, man, it's a beautiful day out here. We're going to make it a beautiful Sunday. You know, San Antonio, I'll be down there for a quick trip. So shout out to my folks. San Antonio, might be going to the Valley. We'll see how that goes. But either way, it'd be nice to take another trip. You know, I love taking trips. Phoenix, might be there the week after, or I might push the trip just to, you know, save some money, because, you know, taking back-to-back trips this year isn't possible. That's not really economically feasible. I mean, it can be done, but what's the point of getting into more debt? We don't really have to. So, you know me, I take trips for business and I take trips for fun. So that's what I like to do. So, but it's a beautiful Sunday morning. It's 10:12 right now. You know, I'm glad I'm not coughing as much as I was compared to yesterday and Friday, because I was coughing so hard, my chest was kicking me. It felt like somebody was punching me, and it would leave my chest a little scratchy and whatnot. So, it literally felt like somebody. It wasn't like a hard punch, but it was like a light tap. After I would start coughing and whatnot. So, but anyways, let me know where you're at. I'm in Woodbridge, Virginia right now. Out on Sunday, so it's not, you know, try to get out here before too many people get out. I know a lot of people are in church right now, or on their way to church. So hey, you know, whatever you worship, whatever you celebrate, do what you do. It's all good. I don't judge anybody. My mom said this: as long as you ain't hurting me or hurting nobody else, do what you do in this life. You know, if you like to make money, you really are a friend of me in this life. You're about making some money. So I always say that. But if you could like to pass around good information. But there was a YouTube video I was watching, and it caught my attention. And so of course, you know, the algorithm's like, oh, you like this video? Check this video out. This is relatable. And it's basically talking about the youth of today, the Gen Zs, you know, and some millennials, because I'm a millennial, because I'm an 80s baby. But anyways, talking about how a lot of them are still living with their parents, how a lot of them might get support from their parents, and how, of course, a lot of people who are Gen Xers and baby boomers don't like that. But, you know, it's like, the biggest problem in the United States of America is, I'm going to stand on that, and I haven't been proven wrong yet. But anyways, the biggest problem in the United States of America is this 1945 notion of, when you turn 18, you ain't staying here. In my day, this is what we did. Crap. And every generation is different. Every generation is different. But if a parent wants to help their kid out, that's their freaking business. How about that? Mind your business. You know, the biggest problem with people is the lack of family to begin with. This is why the homeless population has gone up and will continuously go up, because people don't think that families should stick together. A lot of people's notion of family is we just have the same last name and that's it. And I think that's total BS. I'm going to call it. I think that's total BS. I think, you know, my family members, no, I don't even mess with them, because they just think we have the same last name, and we're going to brag about what we have, and we're going to outcompete each other instead of working together. You know, the one thing I give a lot of people, some but not all, a lot of people who immigrate here from the United States of America, to the United States of America from other countries, I give them credit in regards to sticking together. You know, when you know, like, you can make fun of a family who might have 5 families living up in one house, but guarantee that 5 people in that house, guarantee one thing: them jokers are putting their money together, they buying real estate together, they opening up businesses together. The key word is together. Okay, I can't harp enough on that. The key operative word is together. You know, and then you have people that are living in that house that are plumbers, electricians, lawyers, tax professionals, people who might have a cleaning business, a landscaping business, people who have a construction business. So if you're a mechanic, plumber, electrician, that means if you ever own a house like I do, you know how expensive it is to get any little thing done, from replacing a toilet to replacing a sink to a busted pipe to electrical work. So if you have somebody that lives in a house that can do that kind of stuff, all you got to do is buy the parts. So that saves you a lot of money. Might not save you some time, but it'll save you a lot of freaking money. All right. Then another thing, everybody has a car, everybody can contribute. Everybody can contribute to the bills. The bills are split, especially as crazy and egregious as the rents are and mortgages are in 2025. 5 to 10 incomes is better than 1 or 2 in 2025. I'm just saying. So a lot of my family members on my mom's side and my dad's side, they know I don't, as far as the adults, they know I don't rock with them because I'm like, hey, what are we talking about economically? I don't care how many degrees you have. I don't care how much money you make. We need to be combining resources instead of competing against one another. That's the biggest problem in America to this day, regardless who's in the White House, governor's house, or mayor's house. Biggest problem in the United States of America today. People do not want to combine resources. People want to outcompete each other. And that's one of the reasons, but not the only reason, why so many people are struggling to this day. The one reason why my best friend who lives in Inglewood, California is still able to live there is because when his mother retired, she handed down the house to him. Now, of course, he didn't just get it for free. He had to pay a specific fee. But she handed him, as far as in regards to changing, getting the house title in his name, but she handed him a house with no mortgage. And she was able to inherit that house from her parents. So, and the house was bought back in the, I think, 50s or 60s, and the house is bought for about $60,000 to $80,000. The house is worth $700,000 in 2025. You do the math. A house that has no mortgage. So he's been able to, when he first lived in there, he's like, okay, his money wasn't right. So he rented out, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. So what he did is he rented out the 2 bedrooms, and he rented out a couch for the first 2 years in order for him to stack his chips and whatnot. And once he got in specifically into his career, that's when he's like, once the leases were up with the tenants and whatnot, he's like, okay, you guys got to go. Now he owns the house. He was able to have the house outright, stack his chips, only worry about the property taxes, and he had insurance, and that's it. And utilities. And whenever something bad happened, he put it on his credit card, get the points, get the air miles and whatnot, and take money from his savings account because he was able to save a lot of money during that time to be able to handle business, family economics. Like, heck, I was, thanks to my mother, I was able to get my first house. She didn't give me the money. We combined resources, and we bought a house together, especially during the economic downturn back in 2010. And from there, I was able to take equity out of that house and buy more houses in a cheaper state like the state of Pennsylvania. Family resources. When she had an issue with her tenant or whatnot, from a financial standpoint, I had a contract. I said, hey, he can do a better job than what your property manager is doing, so therefore you're going to get a better price. Family resources. Family matters should be economic family matters. I'm not giving out financial advice because everybody's situation is different, but outside of my mother, for the most part, people know the adults in my family, if you ain't talking about trying to do something from an economic standpoint, we can be cool. But outside of that, stay away from me with all that. I'm better than you. I have a degree. I was in the military. I make X amount of dollars. Bliggity blah, bragging about crap that don't mean nothing. If you're not on Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos level, stop bragging. You look like a fool. But that's just my personal opinion. I'll leave it at that. But anyways, the whole thing was, it's like people shouldn't be, people should not be, parents shouldn't be helping the kids out. That's their business. Because then the thing is, if they help their kids out, guess what happens? In their elder years, when they can't do nothing, I would imagine that the kids would help them out. It's called family business, family being together. But for a lot of people, family doesn't mean anything. It's just a bloodline and a last name in a lot of instances, which is sad nowadays. It's more so now than it ever has been. It's more so now in 2025 than it ever has been. And that's what makes it a very sad situation that we're seeing in the United States of America. Because a lot more, family members are just a drag on each other instead of, the people aren't thriving, they're surviving more and more, especially given the fact that they can't, people, either the kid can't wait to leave the house by the time they're 18 to 25, or the parents can't wait to kick them out by the time they're 18 to 25. Because they're like, well, you shouldn't get a handout. I don't call it a handout, I call it a hand up. Especially in today, if you're between 18 to 24 or 25 years old in 2025, I'm 42, and you're stepping out in this world with no money in your pocket, and you got to pay $1,800 to $2,000 for a shack, bedroom, apartment, why not stay with your parents, contribute, but put yourself in a position to where you can save money, build up your credit, however you do it, because I'm not giving out financial advice, and put yourself in a position when you actually do move out that you have a significant amount of money, you have a significant amount of credit. So when something bad happens, because life does happen, i.e. a medical issue, i.e. a car issue, or if you own a house issue, or you lose your job. All these things happen. They've happened to me, and it can happen to anybody else. This is a very normal thing. It's called life. It's called adulting. But why send a young person out in this world? They don't have any financial resources. You're making it easier for them that's why you have not only a homeless population, you have such a population of workers. It's like a third world country in certain instances. It's normal for a lot of people to live in a car nowadays in the US and have a job, have a decent paying job. This has become a normalized thing. Sad. They shower with, they have a gym membership, so they take a shower there. Some of them might have a remote job, so they might go to a cafe and work from there. They'll log into the Wi-Fi there and work from the job from there, or they'll just go to work. Sometimes it's for a lot of people, they do this because they want to be able to save money. And I'm saying to myself, well, is your life that bad you couldn't live with your parents to where you couldn't save money? You got to live in a car in order for you to save money? I mean, it's a genius idea in order for one to save money, but you're not saving that much money because obviously you got to pay for more food. If you live in a hot state, you're going to be burning up. You could die in the car. If you live in a cold air state during the wintertime, you could die in your car. I mean, this is why families should do their best to stick together, unless you just come from a piece of crap family, because not everybody's family is perfect. And that's why I said I like to make things as black as white as possible, but in this instance, it's not a black and white situation. It's very gray. It just depends on who you are, your family, and your situation. But the one thing I would say a lot of people who immigrated to the United States, they have right, they're not perfect, but they have one thing right. They combine work ethic, credit, financial resources, skill resources, information. It's a constant circling, revolving ball, like a merry-go-round. It's going up and down, up and down, up and down, like satellites orbiting the Earth. Okay? And it's a beautiful thing. And I wish there was members of my family that would be on that train, because my generation, between the ages of 30 and 50 and whatnot, really aren't on that kick. My mother's generation, they were slightly 50% on that playing field in regards to saying, hey, let's combine resources, let's work together, let's make some things happen. My grandparents' generation, now they, for the most part, nobody was perfect, but they lived basically just like how a lot of people immigrate to the United States of America. Like a lot of my family members, they migrated from North Carolina to New York City, to New Jersey, to Connecticut, to Boston. Just like a lot of black folks migrated from the deep south to California and whatnot. And what they would do is they would combine resources to be able to rent, they would live below their means, renting a house, renting an apartment, and then one would buy a house, take equity out of that house, buy another house, or they purchase a business. One of my uncles, before he was killed by his wife, unfortunately, rest his soul, he owned 6 houses in the state of Connecticut, which was not easy because it's an expensive state to live in the Norwalk and Bridgeport, Connecticut area. And owned his own trucking business and construction business. Okay, and it was all because of his. He was financially astute, not just in making money, but he was financially astute in regards to saving money, investing money, purchasing assets, pulling money from equity from assets, and pouring it into his business. And he would hire family members, specifically family members who were formerly incarcerated. So at the end of the day, that generation needs to be implemented in 2025, because if not, a lot of regular working people are going to be screwed between the cost of living, tariffs, AI, the robotics boom in regards to not needing as many people in an office. Make your connections. Networking is the most powerful thing that anybody can have. And families, a lot of times, is not just people that's in your same bloodline. Lord knows I know that. They're the people that you click with, they're the people that are there for you, and you're there for them. So I'm about to go inside the CVS. If you're watching on my Facebook right now, do me a great favor. This is a very free thing you can do. Go to YouTube, type in Larry's Anything Goes LLC, and hit the subscribe button. That's all I ask. You can forget about me, but just do that. It's free. So now, do the great thing for things like share and subscribe. Have a great Sunday. Make money move so you can live like a fool, as they say in Spanish. Bienvenido a la vida. Welcome to the life.